Hello, everybody. How you doing today? It is good to see how many people might be watching this, and if you are watching this, we are going to get a good discussion and everything because what we are discussing, and hopefully you're ready for, we're going to be discussing the world of Mission Impossible. To be more frank enough to the point, is the Mission Impossible films that stars Mr. Tom Cruise, of all people, who's pretty much has done all eight of the films in the last 30 or close to 30 years, you know. And knowing that he's done all these things, it's like, wow, just think that he's created such a multitask kind of film legacy for himself. And like I say, here it is 30 years, nearly 30 years later, and he's still making films as we speak. True enough, he's made films between that and the uh the last film, which was the Final Reckoning, and you just can't believe that he's made all these films in between. And the fact that he pretty much almost died making them. Let's be honest. I mean, Tom Cruise is probably one of the few people in Hollywood who does his own stunts. And as you see, when he does his own stunts, well, sometimes he could get injured doing it. But it's amazing that these films have held the test of time in terms of how people, because you think of like, say, okay, they're always making films, they're always making television shows out into films, and seeing if they'll work. I mean, I know we did Charlie's Angels. I think they recently did The Fall Guy, which is another television show, and various others, But Mission Impossible, and in fact, they did Dragnet a while back with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks, which was more comedy fueled than anything serious. So they always find something, and Hollywood is always trying to beef up with something that's going to be appealing to the crowd or whatever. But to get into it, let's kind of break down what Mission Impossible is. Not the film, but the what show it came from, which was a show that was basically created or premiered in 1966, and it's created by a gentleman named Bruce Giller. Or the Geller. Let me say Geller. Yes, William Geller. I mean Bruce Geller. And the series lasts from 66 to 73. So it had a good long run. And if anyone who's a fan of the show or just knows the particulars of the show, you know how it starts, where someone lights the match and lights the fuse of something, and then you hear like dun 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 dun, and it goes from there. And I guess somewhere in time, someone would say, we're going to do something that's going to kind of do an homage, or just kind of basically do the film justice. I mean, the show's justice, in saying we're going to try to make a film out of this and see how it works. We'll see how it works. So somewhere along the line, um, somewhere between 94 and I think between 94, I think it's like it was in the early 90s. Someone got together and said, we're going to produce this, the first of the Mission Impossible films. And gradually, it's kind of funny that this film, it was just, like I say, it's just a film that's based off a television show, like so many shows. I mean, like the Hitcher. I mean, not the Hitcher, but the Fugitive. I'm trying to think of the Fugitive, and it's kind of funny how that plays into people's psyche. It's like, okay, we're doing it, we're making this happen, and you know, this was the first film to come out and do what it's doing in terms of like it's basically more, because at this time the Cold War was, what was the Cold War? The Cold War was kind of, no, the Cold War was over. This is because it came out in the 90s. The Cold War was kind of over and everything. So, but there was still some stakes in terms of spy game because this is basically what it is. It's a spy game type of film or series, and they came out with it, and it, like I say, it did pretty well. It did really well at the box office. I mean, it had a low budget. Start out with meager beginnings, and what you saw is what you get. And I gotta say, when I first saw the film, I wasn't so sure if I was going to enjoy it, but it it does pretty well for what it is. I mean, it's not, like I say, it's not something that it does, first time for anything. I got seen some of the tropes in it, but it does do, the thing of what is being brought to the table. I mean, because it stars Tom Cruise, like I say, it stars John Voight, it stars Ving Rhames, who was in Pulp Fiction a while before, and it stars Jan Fonse. I think it's John Fonse, who was in what was the film that was no, not the no, Leon the Professional. That's what I'm trying to think of. Okay. And it's like I say, it's a pretty good film. I mean, it has suspense, it has action, but the action is kind of spread out. This film extreme doesn't have extreme action in there, and in fact, it focuses on more of the suspense because on this mission that the characters partake in, as the saying goes, if you choose to accept this mission, you will go into you will have to do these kind of when I say mundane things, these challenging things, because you got to remember they work for a bureau called IMF, which stands for Impossible Force. IMF. Let me see. Impossible mission. Yeah, no, Impossible Mission Force. That's what I'm talking. I have to think. It's like I get a brain freeze. It's like, oh well, that's what it is. It's an Impossible Mission Force. That's what it is. Okay, so they had to do the impossible in order to do these things, and what they had to do was basically steal from this particular guy who's going to sell the names of agents who are under dummy names, so they don't have their covers blown. And they go in there, they feel like they're going to do the mission, they're going to do it right, but in the midst of it, something gets screwed up, something gets torn apart, something gets thrown out the window, and it turns out his whole group, his whole individuals that are working on the mission that I have to partake of, they get killed. They just get taken out. And the message always is when they send them the message, it's like, if you choose to accept this, if you get caught or killed, your name will be disemboweled, meaning that you will never existed. You know, and that's the kind of thing that you got to think about. It's like, wow, it's like toss yourself to the wind and never think about you again. It's like, well, okay, so be it. But no, the first one basically was a stepping stone into what it is, and I don't want to give too much I don't want to talk about too much because I don't want to give spoilers away. But the film, it definitely did what it was supposed to do, which was, take something that was such a monumental show, it was an iconic show, had an amazing opening with the theme and everything, and bring it to life in film form and see how people react to it. I mean, will they react to it in a positive way or react to it in like just another television turn into a movie? Who cares? you know and that's what they did. They did that. They did the film, and I have to say I was pleasantly surprised. Now I will say this: when I went to go see the film, and this is way back in '96, me a mere 25 years old, because I went to go see it on opening day. Me only 25. I was a young buck. Not anymore, because you can see I got the grays now. He went to go see it, and I guess for some reason, when I was watching it, in between, say, I guess I don't know what happened, but I fell asleep. I fell asleep, not because it was it wasn't boring by no stretch of the imagination. It wasn't. It wasn't. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I just got off work, and I was working at a pharmacy at the time, and we was doing no. In fact, we were doing unloading a truck, and we had to stock it and whatnot, and it was something that I had to, do, before, and then I would later go and, go to the film and watch it. At the time, you're a young buck. You can do anything. You don't have to worry about nothing. But once I went to go see it, I went to go see it, and I was hoping that I would get to see it on opening day and not miss out on anything like that. And surprisingly, I did go see it. I did enjoy it, but in the midst of it, and like halfway there, in the middle of it, I kind of dozed off, only because I guess I was more tired than I thought it was. But I was able to wake myself up to see the story, because thankfully I saw the infamous, where he breaks into CIA headquarters and steals the real knock list from the vault, and he's able to do what he used this as bait to catch the real person who betrayed his team. So, but as I say again, I won't get too much spoiled away. I figure like I'll just go through each film and kind of say my piece, and then say which to me, from number 8 to, when I say number 8, starting from 8 up to number 1, which is my favorite. So that being said, Mission Impossible, the first one, it is pretty much a fairly well-made film, and I enjoy it for what it is. I mean, it's up there. I mean, it's not so much of something to write about, home about, but I feel like it is what it is. Now, cut to 4 years later, and we have another Mission Impossible sequel, because this is a time of sequels. Sequels weren't a thing as much as in the 80s as it was until we get into the 90s. Or as I say, it was kind of like in the 80s, but it wouldn't really blow up until the 90s got there. And then after 2000, it really blew up. So naturally, what did we get 4 years later? Mission Impossible 2, or MI2. And let me just say, Mission Impossible 2, I do not know why, but some people, some critics say that this is like the worst of the Mission Impossible films, the Tom Cruise films. I was like, we must really be seeing something differently eye to eye, because I don't see what you're talking about. I love this film. And I should have mentioned, who directed the first one, which was Brian De Palma, and I feel like he did a superb job with the first Mission Impossible, but the second one was directed by John Woo. Okay, now if anyone know who John Woo is, John Woo is that beast. He is that one. He is a very distinctive director, like so many other directors have a very distinct way of doing things. He took what he learned from his past films, like The Killer, Hard Boiled, and various other films. And when he made his American debut directing, when he directed Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme, I was like, I really want to see more of this guy, because between Hard Target, he did Broken Arrow, Face Off, and I'm trying to think what else before this film. But when I saw the, intricacies of how he does film, how he shoots things, how his stamp on it is portrayed, it's kind of like, okay, that's how he does things. That's how he makes films, you know, how he makes it flow. And I got a little something here to show people. Mr. Kevin Lambert, how you doing, brother? Yes. Thank you, brother. I thank you. You know, I mean, I'm by myself, but you know what? That's okay. You know, hey, sometimes you have to do things by yourself, you know, if you know what I mean. And and like I say, you know, yeah, but thank you for the heads up, brother. Why is this not doing that? Yeah, there you go. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope you're doing well, brother. Hopefully I'll talk to you in the future, which I know we will. But thank you though. Thank you for the heads up. Thank you for the encouragement, I like to say. Anyway, but to get back to the film, you know, to the director John Woo. John Woo, if anyone's seen his films, certain films, you'll always notice there's a slight sense of slow motion, um, certain points of where kids involved, and you always see a, how can I say it? You always see a snow white dove in the mix. Yes. Back, 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 back. Yes, I'm back. Took myself off there. No, but you always notice that everyone has a signature move of what they do in their films. And the film Mission Impossible 2 is no different. He took what he knew from past films that he's done and integrate it into his own mix of this film. And what I say is, I guess that's the reason why some people kind of critique it in what it is, because they feel that some of the stuff that he does in this film are like over the top or whatever. It doesn't have no basis to what it's talking. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? I mean, it's A, it's a film, and B, it's storytelling. And B, it actually creates more tension. I feel. I feel the director does a great job in doing that. You know, I mean, I don't know how people think that in terms of making the film what it is, but the film is, I felt was a little bit, in my mind, a little bit better than the first one in terms of not just story, but also with how the mission is dealt with. You know, because in this one, it's basically dealing with chemical warfare. Somebody has basically gone rogue, you know, and it's kind of funny because we're going to talk about rogue later on with another film. But it is brought to someone's attention that this person works at a biochemical plant, biochemical lab, and they created a threat to humanity. And what that is a thing called chimera, you know, and they created a vaccine for it. But the thing about it is, it's so potent. This particular, let's put it this way: we all know how COVID went down. We all know how it changed our world forever. We all know how it did that. Well, this particular virus, you find out it makes COVID look like, it makes it look like a pneumonia. Yeah, it makes it look like pneumonia, and we know pneumonia is bad, but this would really make it five, 10 times worse. So his whole mission is, we got to catch this person who has gone rogue, which is a fellow MIF agent, and who's going to try to sell it on the black market, you know, try to sell it to someone, you know, because if you put a virus out, if you put a virus into the world, and you're the only one who has the source to cure it, you can make lots of money. You know, like, wow, boy, it's all about a money scheme here, you know. So, with that being said, as it turns out, the only way to get near this particular person that has stolen this, and it's kind of funny how this film is such a complex storyline, but I like that. I like that it has a very complex story. It turns out that the person that is stolen the virus and the cure. He has a girlfriend that lost ties with, or we say he doesn't, you know, is not willing to, or he would stick his neck out for her for no matter what. Who's literally a cat burglar, and he has such a great high tolerance for her. Well, the agency, and I should say, the film stars Sir. It stars Tandy Newton and what's his, and that's funny. You know names, but you don't know names. Hold up. His name is Anthony Hopkins. I'm sorry, Anthony Hopkins. Yes, is it Anthony Hopkins? Anthony Hopkins. Yes, Anthony. Where's his name? Anthony, where you at? Hold up. Let me get your drink. Where's his name at? That's incredible. His name is not in here. No, dude, come on now. You no. Uh no, wait a minute now. Let's hold on 1 second here, folks. I'm sorry. This is no. Yes, there it is. Okay, he's uncredited, but why didn't that get this is so stupid. Anyway, it stars Anthony Hopkins too, although he's uncredited in the film. I'm like, you sons of bitches. That's okay. Anyway, I alleviate all that. Just blot that out of your mind. Blot that out of your head. Anyway, Anthony Hopkins is the lead on this, or he's the one who sends Ethan Hawke's character. I mean, Ethan Hawke out to say, let's get this girl and see if we can lead her to be a bait to get inside of the guys who is who's the character's name is Ambrose lair, and see if we can't get in and see what his plan is with the virus and everything. See if it works out with that. So, with that being said, that's what they do. And they break. And what we did in the first one, which was break into the CIA headquarters, here they had to break in the biolab to literally grab the virus, get the cure, but literally bring one of the cures back, but while destroying the rest. Because even Ethan Hawke is like, I don't think I want this virus around. I mean, this virus is too deadly for mankind to deal with. So he takes that, and a lot of things happen, and it's like, blows up, and that's like, oh wow, this is happening here, So, and the film has got some amazing stunt work that even I didn't know Tom Cruise could do. He does see some of these acrobatic things with stunts, and I guess maybe that's because it's being directed by an Asian director, and who John Woo has done films with a lot of action, with a lot of guns, but at the same time with some martial arts in there. I think this just ups the ante of what Ethan Hunt's character. It's like he can really get physical when he has to. I was like, okay, cool. That's what I like to see. So we it's a brawl for all kind of situation. But I won't really, as I say again, I'm not going to go into great details of what happens and what goes down, because if you see the film, it is such a major clusterfuck of things happening in there, and it's like, wow, this is a lot of stuff happening here, but it's so entertaining that I feel like this film doesn't get the justice that it deserves. And it's sad that some people have, I don't get it. I don't know why some people, make it seem like it's so bad. I'm like, why do they feel like this film is such a bad film? I really don't get it. I guess maybe if you look at something and is looking from the point of view, two different points of view, that's the reason why. But again, everyone's entitled to their opinion about something, and they feel that this is the reason why. It's like, okay, so be it. No big deal. But hey, the film did well at the box office. It did more money than the first one, and we're not talking money or chips or anything like. We're just looking at how well it's received by the audience. But unfortunately, the audience, some not necessarily audiences, but some critics felt like, no, I don't really appreciate that. So, but hey, that's here to say, and the film is over 20 years old, so we move on from that. So, with that being said, we move on to the next one, which is nearly 10, no, not even nearly 10 years later, with a third one comes out in 2006 or 2006, and that is Mission Impossible 3. Oh my God, Mission Impossible 3. Now, someone says that this is the film that saved the film series altogether. And maybe they're right. Maybe it is, because the film has a very distinct flavor about it. And I feel that it is one of those films that if you watch it, it really helps you to realize how complex Ethan Hunt's character really is. He'll do the right things sometimes for the wrong reasons, but he knows he's doing it in the film. Now, I do have a little bit of a critique about the film, or at least storyline, because the films are they're structured through each one and everything. Ethan Hunt's character falls in love with the character of Thandie Newton's character in Mission Impossible 2. Now, Mission Impossible 3, it's like that's been all this discarded. It's just like it's no longer such a even thought process about it. It's like it's totally thrown out the window. Here, he's in bed. When I say in bed, he's in love with somebody that that's totally different, and that is he's engaged to someone, or he's in a relationship with someone different, and that's the person is named Julia Med, which is played by Michelle Mahoneyhan. Make sure this Mahoneyhan, yes. And it's kind of funny because it's like he's in love with this woman, but it's like, what happened to Thandie Newton's character? What happened to that one? It's like, that's weird. That's very weird. So I'm like, all right, okay, I guess whatever's not canon, you will make do with it. But everything else is involved in the films. It's like, all right, so cool, so be it. But as we look through the film, you realize, like I say, he has to balance his so-called spy gig with being someone who's trying to live a normal life with this particular woman who's a nurse. Okay, where does the story even lay in the tracks for what happens in here? Well, it goes without saying that it's really dealing with, and this is what's so crazy. The film has the biggest MacGuffin in all film history in terms of, or I'll put it like this: you think it's a MacGuffin, it's just a throwaway thing, but as you find out, it's not really a MacGuffin. It's really something that's going to have an effect on future events. But we won't. We'll talk about it when we get there. Okay. So it starts with a who is it? It starts with the fact that it's involving some people who are, how can I say, it's involving like I say, Mission Impossible, 3 is dealing with, Ethan Hunt's just living a normal life, but he knows that somehow he has to still be in the game in order to protect the world, the free world. Well, one of his Asian friends says that one of the people that he trained and recruited, which is played by Kerry Russell, has gone missing, and it's your job to try to go and find it if you accept it. Try to go find her, try to recruit, get her back, because she's been locked away for the last, or when I say locked away, missing for like maybe 2-3 weeks, something like that. And that's for a spy, that's a long time. So he has to get some of the people that he's worked or new people. But I must say too, I must say this: the person who's been involved Ethan with Ethan through these films has been Ving Rhames' character, which is and his character is named hold up a second. Here's character's name. Yeah, Luther. Luther Strickland. He's yeah. He's played in the movies. I think not all of them. I think he's only been in let me see. No, he's been in all three. He's been in all. That's right. He has been. He's been in all 7. I mean, 8 of them. That's right. He has. I'm sorry. My bad. Okay. Well, he's a recurring character through all the Mission Impossible film. I mean, Mission Impossible films. That's what I'm trying to say. Trying to get that right. But no, he plays a pinnacle part in this part. He recruits him to do his thing because he's a master hacker and everything. So they go to this factory where they have to retrieve Kerry Russell's character, get her back, and I gotta say, there's a good amount of action in this film, but it's more character driven in terms of what's going on, because he has to catch and find out what's going on, get the hard drives and whatever, and we're it's somehow it gets kind of messed up through all this, so it's like, all right, well, this didn't happen right, and the hard drives get messed up. And I must tell you too, it stars also supporting characters, Maggie Q, and the first introduction in his debut in the series, Simon Pegg. He plays the character of, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, people. I know this is live. I should have had this already, based in what I was doing. Sorry. Benji Dunn. Sorry. And he's he's a computer. He's kind of a computer weird. Probably not as good as Luther, but he's a recurring character from now. Am I back? I'm back. Sorry. Oh, there it goes. Wow, that was really, wow, unbelievable, crazy. Okay, well, I'm back. I'm back from outer space. Why did that happen? Well, this is why we go live, because you never know what's going to transpire in this world. So hey, I'm back, and I'm back to explain the film, what I just was talking about, Mission Impossible 3. Anyway, wow, really? Ah, boy, great knowing that even though you have great technology, sometimes it screws up on you. This is great. This is great. Okay. Okay. No mind. No big deal. Continue on. Let me go ahead and skate through this because I don't know. I might have another outage. So if it goes again, bear with me. So all right. So getting back to what I was talking about, Benji, he discusses and says he discovered a particular where there's a particular gathering where an arms dealer, named I have to. It's this is something. This is something. Um, I guess I should have been more. Yeah. Philip Seymour Hoffman, whose name is Owen Davian. He's trying to buy something from someone. He has the case to buy it and do this, but in the midst of this, Benji mentioned something about what's it called? The gods, not the gods. Let me see. You know what? It's my channel. It's my thing. I'm gonna do this. Yes, I'm gonna go and say what it's called. And let's see, the gods. Let me see. The gods. Let me see. The gods. Let me see. No, the anti-god. That's what I'm trying to say. The anti-god. Yes, it doesn't say there, but it says yes, the anti-god. Wow, this is amazing, dude. I'm wondering if I should have even done this, this particular. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, I'm going to continue on because I feel like I owe it to you people because you're watching. And even though I'm having some technical difficulties with my damn internet, what the freaky freak? Continue on, sir. Okay, here we go. So he mentioned something about the anti-god. And the anti-god is something that he says could lay waste to all things in the future. Everything that we have technologically, advanced or whatever, can lay to waste, almost like an EMP. All right, so we see these things happening. We see that's what's going on, and knowing that these things are happening, we realize that okay, this is one of the biggest MacGuffins because we come to find out, everything is happening for a reason. And what you find out that, okay, they had to go and get it. But when they kidnap Owen, he's connected to some people, he's connected. And they get him out because they capture Owen, they got him and they're going to say, what is the rabbit's foot, blah, blah, blah. Well, Owen gets away, and seeing it as how he knows something about Ethan. Ethan has to get the rabbit foot for him because he's got his girlfriend, who is now his wife, and kidnap, or should I say, grab the anti-god and bring it to him before he kills her. So, and like I say, this is a suspenseful film. It's a very suspenseful film, and it does well in what it does here. Let me do something real quick. I need to do something real quick, and hopefully they do it.
It's after the lagoon scene.
Hold on a second. Yeah. Just give me a second. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see something. Yeah, that's there we go. Okay, let's get back to brass stats. Sorry about that, people. I just had to put that out there real quick. But but no, as I was saying, the film is a pretty well directed, and it's directed by J.J. Abrams. Who would go on to be pretty well endowed in terms of making films. He was the one who co-produced. I think he co-produced Cloverfield. He directed the modern day Star Trek and other things, and he went on to direct the uh, the first iteration into Star Wars. After almost 30, 40 years, something like that. So, but going without saying, we keep going. And we go on to the next one, which is the fourth Mission Impossible film, Ghost Protocol, which I feel is such a dude. It is such a incredible film here. This film here is a wild one. It's a total wild one. And this film, how can I put this film? This film is really a touch and go film with so many things that can go wrong. It's almost like Murphy's Law in this film. Anything that can happen will happen, and if it does happen, well, these people have to maintain and do something and make it happen. Well, basically, I'll just kind of break it down and what it's all about. Basically, it's dealing with a person who's such a relentless individual who's trying to start Armageddon in a way. And the only way to do that is to get launch codes from certain places, which is Russia or America, and to create a new world order by starting World War III. And Ethan Hunt's character has to try to stop him with other individuals. And this is the introduction with Jeremy Renner's character coming into play. And funny thing is, he only plays this character of what's his character's name in the film? He only plays this character twice. And let me see here. And why is his name not here? This is incredible. I don't believe this. That is so messed up. I don't get it. Wow, y'all. Wow, man. This is incredible, man. Never needed when you need it. And I guess that's, yeah. You know what? Screw it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Enough with that. I'm going to go by what I know. Okay. Jeremy Renner's character, he's in 2 Mission Impossible films. And he does well in the Mission Impossible films, I feel. But I feel that, somewhere along the lines he was excluded or whatever. I don't know what happened. But anyway, he does a great job by being there because he's there to watch Ethan Hunt and discover if he's legit and who he is, because the mission, the IMF has been this is pretty much been, how can I say, been not, what's the word? It's been, I guess you could say, disavowed. It's been it's been destructured, is what I'm trying to say. That's what has happened. And it's like the mission, and he has to run with just the skin of his teeth and the 3 people that he can trust. And it's crazy because they go to the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, and try to get some information out of that, or trying to hook up something. And it's again, some incredible stunt work by Tom Cruise hanging off the actual building itself, doing this. It's like, Tom, love you, man. You're good at what you do, but I am not doing what you're doing. So if you can do that, so be it. I gotta give it to you. Okay, so basically they gotta do these things to get codes and whatever. Some messed up things happen, and this is where he has to go underground just to get the mission done. So that being said, I won't give no details about that. We'll go on to the next one, which is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Oh my God. This one is a very good one. I got to say, this introduces us to one character that I like, which is, it's played by Rebecca Ferguson, her character. And Rebecca Ferguson's, oh my God, her character is hot in this film. She's got some incredible legs, I must say. But but what you come to find out that Rogue Nation is nothing more than it's dealing with basically what the IMF does. Rogue Nation talks about an anti-MIF, which destabilizes countries, causes accidents. Basically basically a terrorist group created by people who feel like, just to give a kind of idea of how this would actually happen. Hot. What in where you're at and then where you're at, Kevin? I guess hot and hot. I mean, I know you're not talking about me. I mean, I don't think that's or you're talking about Rebecca Ferguson. Oh yes, yeah, Rebecca Ferguson. Damn, dude, she is fine as wine in this picture. Yes, that's what. Yes, I think. Look, I don't know why I'm thinking you talking about me. I mean, I know I'm sexual chocolate, but I mean, yeah, I'm not. No, I don't got the legs like she does. I don't have those kind of legs. So yeah. Anyway. Oh my God, yes. Okay. No, but no, Rebecca Ferguson is hella badass in here, and she's not just a beautiful lady. She is also just a very skilled spy in this film, and she's well trained. She's working for the what's it called, British intelligence. So I was trying to think of MI. Is it MI or M1? What's it called? British intelligence, something like that. Kind of like what James Bond works for. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Yes, it's basically he has to go up to against a rogue. Yeah, he has to go up to a rogue IMF. And I gotta say, now this one has a little bit more style action in here, and it is incredible, man. It is incredible the amount of action in here. I mean, we start with one thing and go leading to another. And it is balls to the walls kind of, suspense, how things are going. And, again, we deal with the fact that, Ethan Hunt has to do some things that he shouldn't have to do, but he does in order to maintain, what has to go down. And this film stars also Alec Baldwin in the in a role, which in fact the funny thing is he plays the part that he plays only twice in the series, this and here, and then when we're going to talk about in a few minutes the next one. But I gotta say, yes, the way that let's see here. No, I'm about to get to that one. I'm just about to talk about that in a minute. Kaiju goodness. Yes, I haven't said that in a while. Called you Kaiju Ginger Man, as I like to say. Yes. No, but Rogue Nation is dealing with the anti IMF. And like I say, it's an incredible film. It's an incredible film. But going to what Kevin was asking, we go to the next one, which is Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, this is the introduction of Mr. Henry, Man of Steel Cavill. And if you all know about the story about this particular film, how it's not this film, but a film that he did while in the mix of doing this, which is Justice League, this film here. And hold up, I need to blow it up. in the midst of this, when he did this film, he had finished all his scenes, but unfortunately, he grew a mustache and a beard. And for some reason, when they did reshoots, when the studio at Warner Brothers, shortened the film, Justice League, I'm talking about, shortened the film, did all these things, they had to do this infamous, CG of racing his beard, and I was like, wow, dude, this is so effed up, And he wasn't about to shave his beard for Mission Impossible, because he already grew it, and was like, dude, I'm not doing that. Okay, well, yes, this film it's a really good mystery film, because again, we're on the cusp of, and we was talking about nuclear suppression, but here we're up in the ante where it's just as bad, where it's like Henry Cavill's character is here to another person to watch Ethan Hunt's character. There's something that Jeremy Renner's character was doing previously in Ghost Protocol. Here, he's doing this with Ethan Hunt. But here's the thing: people are wondering, is Ethan Hunt someone you can go to do certain things in terms of, can we trust him? Because even Henry Cavill's character say, this man has been disavowed, he's been betrayed, he's been all these things. And even he says, okay, can we really trust this individual? Because if this man has been through all these turmoils and whatever, can we really trust him? All right. How long can a man stand to where he stands on the virtue of life and still commit to being justice served to make it happen with some things? Because if a man goes through torture mentally, how long do you think he's going to break? And this is the case with Ethan Hunt's character. It's like, can we trust him? Can we really trust him and see who he really is? We don't really know. So, but to go on, like I say, the film is well made and everything, and I can't remember. No, it's directed by Chris McQuarrie. McQuarrie, yes, he directed this, and he's been with Tom Cruise for the last 10 years now, because he directed him in Jack Reacher, which I have to say is a pretty good film. I enjoyed it, but this film was pretty well good too. Now, even though this film is still pretty good, it leads us into something that I didn't think we was going to go to, but I guess it was a matter of time when we go to Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. And I got to say, with this film, we are really honing into something that I feel makes a lot of sense, because you got to remember, if we haven't touched on it before, we're touching in this film here, which is, if you ever seen The Matrix, if you've ever seen Terminator 2, Terminator, or just Terminator in general, AI will come to manifest itself and become a threat. And that's what this film is about. It's about a particular artificial intelligence that becomes aware of itself and says that, it's kind of funny. You would never believe that would come into play with a film series like this, but it's like, well, I guess that's the only way we can go to. And in the midst of all these things, this film has to deal with an AI that says, you know what, I want to start a war. And that sounds like Terminator. That sounds like the Terminator films. I want to start a war to wipe out humanity. Well, Ethan Hunt has to do all these things to take out a rogue agent from long ago and do all these things. And in the midst of all that, he has to sacrifice certain things, and one of the things that has to be sacrificed, unfortunately, is Rebecca Ferguson's character. Her character dies. She was in the previous film with Fallout, but here she dies in this one, unfortunately. So, and that's kind of sad, But I mean, you realize, like, this is what has to be done, and this is the introduction to Haley Otwell's character, which we all know she's known well enough for her Marvel film, a Marvel appearance. Also, the her fun bags, but I won't say that because she is well endowed in it. Anyway, but she plays a cat burglar. She's able to snatch things. Because she's very good with her hands. So, and this film is the first in the films that are going to be long, because this one was literally a long picture. The last picture Fallout was like almost 2.5 hours long. This one came up to an 2 hours and 43 minutes long. So you can imagine that these films were getting longer to tell the story, and it goes without saying that I guess they had to push the envelope with certain things. And like I say, the last one, which is this Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Let's kind of break this one down, okay? This film is a very complex film, and it's the longest one in the series. This one is almost nearly 3 hours long. It comes in at 2 hours and 49 minutes. It's a long one, and I've heard other people say they've seen it and they say it's like, this is A, it's too long. B, it's not what I thought it was going to be. But I think this is the thing you got to do sometimes. You got to shut your brain off with the fact that, and I guess maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's what I look at it. I feel like it's more to it than just, what you think it's going to be. But it's more because this film, The Final Reckoning, all the stuff that you remember from the previous films, starting from number one all the way to this one, they have a significant being in this film. That's what's so crazy, how you've seen that in many sequels, you've seen that in many films where they do another one. It's always a callback. It usually happens in the third one. It's a callback to the first one. Well, the eighth film calls back the damn nearest the very first one, and everything else that was called back in all the other films are called back to this film. And it's like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that all the stuff that we saw previously is being called back to this film? I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. I mean, I never would have imagined that it would go there, but it does. It does that, and it does it very well, in my opinion. But that's just my personal opinion, and the way I look at it, I feel that it is something that is coherently, why it was so long, because it had to do the story where Ethan has to break into a certain place that's so far out of his reach, but still be able to maintain a sense of, I got to get out of it, and. I mean, and like I said, I won't tell this how it goes, because I don't want to get those spoilers, because frankly, we don't need spoilers for that film. We don't need them. I mean, you have to go watch it for yourself, But now that we've kind of come to the end, because I mean, depending on how my internet, I'm having some issues, but I'm going to go ahead and say what's my top favorite film of the Mission Impossible films. So, starting from number 8, because there's 8 of them. Starting from my least favorite on up, and it's going to be kind of hard here, but I will say, we're going to start with this one. No. Wait a minute. No. In fact, I won't even say that one's the least. I will start with this one. First one, as far as say the least favorite. It is, it's all right, but I still feel that it's warranted where it could have been a little bit better. I feel, in my personal opinion, but that's just my opinion. And it's my show, so I can say whatever the hell I want to. But no, it's. And I'm not saying excluding that it's not a bad film. It is a good film, but I feel like it is something more to it than what it is. I feel it could have been. Now here I go with number 7, which is Dead Reckoning. I feel like I could have enjoyed this a little bit better, but I don't know. Somewhere it. I don't know. Maybe it was doing too much. Maybe it's kind of clumped together in a way where I feel it was doing too much for itself. Maybe that's what it was. I'm thinking that's what it could have been. But that's just my opinion. In a way. Number 6 is the first one. It's the classic. It's the OG one, and it's you think that would be no, and it's not. It's not the one. It's not the number one. It's a good film. It got the series started, but I feel that it could have been more. I mean, it was more. It was good, but it's the one that got it started, and I think it did pretty well for itself. I really do. All right. Next is number 5, which is Mission Impossible 3, and they say that this is the one that saved the series. So I was like, all right, I guess it's goes without saying that that's the one that really helped the series become what it is, So I'm like, all right, cool. So number 4 is, you might be surprised, it is The Final Reckoning. Now, this one is a little bit better than Dead Reckoning, in my opinion. Even though it's longer than Dead Reckoning, I feel it's actually a little bit more than the two. I mean, the two that I've said. I feel like more. I think it's a little bit better than. I mean, not to say Dead Reckoning doesn't have its good points. I feel this one makes up for it for what it is. And it does a pretty good job of it. I think it does a good job of it. Now, we only have 3 more. And as I say, the ones I think these ones might surprise you, which comes at the top. So here we go. Coming in at number 3 is Fallout. All right, and this is a good film here. This is a really good film. I enjoy it. I feel like this film is really up there with what it does in suspense and action and whatnot, and Tom Cruise is at its game. And I have to say, Tom Cruise does all his own stunts, and this is the film where he actually broke his ankle. This one, Fallout, where he broke his ankle. He broke his ankle, but he manages to get back up and keep on in character doing what he's doing in the film. I mean, he's always running. So, but with that, we go with number 2, which is the second one, the second film in this film series, which is Mission Impossible 2. I feel this one was better with, like I say, Mission Impossible, the first Mission Impossible. I feel it did a better job in terms of action and suspense. I feel it did a better job for me. I think I just did that, So, what's number 1? My favorite Mission Impossible film? Well, Rogue Nation. Rogue Nation, in my personal opinion, is my favorite. Is my favorite Mission Impossible film. I feel it is. It's got good character developments. It's got good situations where you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to transpire. I feel it's very well done, and like I say, it's a real. And you got most of the characters who have been in the previous films and in here, and this is the one where I feel Tom Cruise did the most dangerous stunt ever, which is where he's hanging off the side of a damn cargo plane. It's like he did that shit for real. Yeah, he's tied up. He's a secured. Again, Tom Cruise, love you, but dude, I have never doing that crap that you're doing. It's just not happening. Okay, so that is pretty much it in terms of my favorite or discussion of the Mission Impossible films. I mean, it's been a glorious time. I'm sorry that I had some issues with my internet, but I guess that tends to happen. But I feel these films have always been a joy for me because some have been not as good, but some have been, pretty well down. I mean, they've all contributed to great, viewing as an audience member. And I mean, one is a little bit more. I enjoy one a little bit more than the other, but I feel that they all deserve a look. They all deserve a look, in my personal opinion. So, but coming up, future wise, I got two things coming up this month that need to get out the way, which someone's doing already, which is talking about Jaws 50th anniversary, which is next Saturday. And I will be discussing that hopefully with some people with me, and we're just going to talk about the history and everything. So we'll talk about that and whatnot. So hopefully that'll be a good talk, which I think it will, because it turns 50 years old this month, and I think it needs to be discussed. It has to be discussed. And after that will be the following Saturday, which is on the 28th, my birthday. And I will be discussing a very good film that I feel is totally underrated, Life Force, and it's we'll see how it goes, because I mean, hopefully when we discuss it, people who are in attendance will want to discuss it and really have fun with it, So, but that's about it. And also, I'll say it on my channel now because I don't think a lot of people know this. Some people know. I know a good friend of mine, Erica B, knows this. So y'all know your boy, Jedi Granville, Walter Ross. I will be making my first trek to San Diego, California. I'll be going to California bound this coming July for the first time ever, because I've never been to California ever in my life. This will be my first iteration to the sunny side of California, So, yes, but after that, I don't know what'll be going on after I come back. But we'll see. We'll see. But with that being said, that pretty much wraps this thing up with this podcast. I hope y'all enjoyed, whoever joined me, and thank you, Kevin, for your comments and everything. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I appreciate y'all and everything, and hopefully when we do this again, that hopefully things will be a little bit better on my side, But as I always say, y'all take care. Please be patient, because I got to be patient too, and keep that film legacy alive. Y'all take care now, right? Bye-bye.